Yeah, it does. I'm sick. I'm allowed.
Are we going?
I don't know. Oh, we're going apparently.
Oh, we're going.
You can edit this, don't worry.
Oh God. Yeah. Okay. So we got to get some stuff out of the way. It's Wednesday, and my mom has. My mother's lawyers have told me that she will definitively never pick up the phone to answer questions from me.
Ever
on a Wednesday night now.
Wow.
Yeah. Right.
Rude.
And I thought so too. There's nothing coming out of my headphones, so I'm taking them off.
Just turn it. Well, we didn't get a real good proper start anyway.
No, we didn't.
Is there? Is it turned on?
Oh.
What? Nobody's getting anything.
Did you hear? Were you hearing anything?
No, I was just going with it. I was just. I'm like, I'm not gonna say anything because.
You didn't want to be the audience.
Yeah, I didn't.
Okay. Hey, we're ready.
This podcast is made by dirty, stupid goblins and their equally horrible guests. They don't believe anything they're saying, and neither should you. It's definitely not for kids, unless their parents are hilariously irresponsible or unbelievably rad, like high on peyote, jumping the dirt bike over the creek, kind of awesome. You know what I'm talking about.
All the freaks by the side of the road, they all say they don't like what they see. All the freaks by the side of the road, they all sit there just staring at me. All the people on the other side, they all say they're just waiting to slide. All the freaks by the side of the road, they all smile at me as I pass.
Hi, thanks for listening to Why Don't We Have Our Own Show, the show that answers its damn question. I'm Scott. I'm your host. I'm managing my diabetes.
And I'm your also host, Ann, box dial gremlin, who is doing her best for God's sake.
We're both feeling a little under the weather, and you've been sick. You've had the flu now, or some sort of like contagious, some whooping cough or something.
Yeah,
for
something.
like
I don't know what it is.
last 5 days or whatever.
I'm not a medical professional. All I know is I've been like horking up things for the last few days, and it's not been pleasant.
You've been producing Shrek-like things.
Yeah, I've been making Shreks.
Oh, because I wonder that's probably how they make Shreks.
That it is exactly how Shreks are made.
So yeah, I was just before we started recording, I was taking off my my sweatshirt because I'm like I want to be comfortable, and you thought I was just stripping.
Yeah, I thought you were just straight up taking off your shirt. I'm like, okay.
Yeah,
I guess that's how it's gonna be. How we're gonna start that show. You're just gonna do it shirtless.
Zip. Nah, shirts for cowards.
It was like one of those things where it's like I didn't even want to say anything. I'm like, okay.
It's a weird flex, but we're gonna go with it. I'm sure it's just doing that for dominance.
Yeah.
So what trailers did we see this week?
The only one that mattered to me was Detective Pikachu.
Detective Pikachu. Okay, so let's talk about Detective Pikachu. I would love the movie just a little bit more if all of the Pokemon were not weirdly slimy.
F you. I love the Pokemon trailer. I don't give a shit.
Out of the gate.
What's going out of the gate? I don't give a f. I'm excited about Detective Pikachu. That's it.
So tell me a little bit about your association with Pikachu.
Well,
with the Pokemon franchise.
Obviously, I'm a big fan of the Pokemon franchise.
I mean, it might not be obvious for the listeners. So
yeah,
you
well,
gotta take us back.
I just said it, that I'm a big fan of the Pokemon franchise. What more do they need? Do they need my cred?
No, take it back. Let me.
The first game, I remember like the very first Pokemon that came out, Pokemon Red and Pokemon Blue, and I played that very first Pokemon on a Game Boy Color, which I no longer have, unfortunately.
Got to play the sad music.
The sad Hulk music.
The sad Hulk music when Dr. David Banner, was walking down the road, hitchhiking in the dust.
I love JRPGs, and Pokemon is a really wildly fun game. I kind of, after the first few generations of Pokemon, I kind of lost interest a little bit, or maybe not so much lost interest. It's just like life took me other places. But then I came back to it on the most recent one, not the most recent. I came back to it on Pokemon XY, which is a really, really fun version of the game. Mm-hmm. It has Pokemon to Me, where you can feed your Pokemon little treats and pet it and crap and play with it, which honestly is the dream.
Do you remember, what was it? Oh, yes, it was Pokemon Hospital that I wanted to like incorporate, like the fact that because this is like cartoon dog fighting.
Oh my God.
That's
right, because you always wanted to take it to like a real world thing and ruin it for everyone.
Thing. I mean, just think about like how much more you would be like connected.
Nobody wants to play your disgusting Pokemon Hospital game,
no, but
Scott.
How connected would you be if when you took it to Nurse Jenny to the vet, that you had to like that the Pokemon would get like a scar from where it had gotten wounded, which would give you like a little reminder
that would be kind of cool.
Of your failures.
Actually, no, that wouldn't be cool. That would be horrible because shut up.
You would get a Pikachu.
You need to be quiet because that is just really upsetting to me right now. I can't think about that.
You would get a Pikachu that started.
Do you know how much I die inside when a Pokemon faints in battle?
Right, but
how
now it faints and it
is.
has to wear a cast.
I hate you. I hate everything about this concept.
And then you'd have to take it to the nurse's
everything
station, and they would have to put it in a cast, and so you'd have to do like physical therapy, and instead of like playing games, it would be like exercising that muscle so that it was.
Oh my God! Why are you?
And then, but then you'd have that moment when you'd get to take that cast off.
Oh my God!
And it would be like weird and gray, and the fur would be wet. You'd have to like bathe it.
This is a bad concept.
And rehabilitation, I think that would be awesome because every single Pokemon would look different because they would all be scarred up in their own unique way.
I don't like that concept.
I think that would be rad. I think they would be the dark Sonic. What was the Sonic game where it was all dark and evil and dark Sonic?
Dude, I'm not a fan of. You're skipping franchises here. I'm not a fan of Sonic. I think I played one whole Sonic the Hedgehog game, and that was enough for me. You've obviously played more Sonic than I have.
Definitely not. No, I never owned a Genesis. I was a Nintendo kid.
Bullshit. We actually played it once. We actually rented one.
We rented it. Rent a Genesis?
Yes, we rented a Genesis to play the Sonic games. Sonic games. Did your sister have a Sonic? Didn't she have a thing that played the Genesis?
Yeah, she
to play that horrible Clax game or whatever.
God, she played Clax.
And then she'd always try to make us play Clax with her, and it's like nobody is invested in this game like you are, Kathy.
Nobody is invested in any game the way that Kathy is invested in games. My sister is one of those maniacs who like we were competitive our entire lives. Like when it was February and my parents would kick us out of the house so that they could smoke dope with their loser stoner friends. We would like have competitions on the porch to see who could stand in the knee deep snow with our shoes off the longest.
This is what I'm talking about. And like when I talk about, I do not envy having like brothers and sisters when I hear you talk about what the two of you got up to.
We would do like somersault competitions underwater to see who could do, and I think like 20 was about our limit. And if you can imagine your lungs exploding and your vision starting to go black because you've not only twisted and turned yourself around, but you've done so in about like 45 seconds underwater. That is, that you haven't lived until you've nearly drowned just so you had bragging rights for a half an hour over your sibling.
Okay.
So, but Kathy is ferociously competitive. Like I don't have that same sort of killer instinct. I was never really good at chess because she'd be like, "Ha, I got you." And it'd be like 6 moves, and she'd be like, "Check, check,
who cares?
Check, checkmate." She laid out.
Get demoralized.
Oh, it became.
Playing games with your sister is the worst.
She's
because I play games with your sister, and it is literally the worst thing in the world. She makes it so not fun to play them.
So we got this tabletop game, Betrayal at House on the Hill, and it's just really fun sort of choose your own adventure, like tabletop horror simulator. Like you uncover rooms in this house, and then you unlock, and the rooms have It's crazy. They got little cards associated with them, and there's these specific cards called omen cards, and you have these die that are 1, 2, and 0 pips, and you have to roll the die every time you unlock or open up or flip over an omen card. And if your die roll doesn't match the number of omen cards that are in play, you get this thing called the haunt begins. The haunt is one of, in the original set, it's 52 different horror scenarios like mummies or vampires or ghost brides or shrinking, or the house gets teleported to another planet or whatever. And so one person, with very rare exception, becomes like the traitor of the game.
And when your sister becomes a traitor, it is honestly the worst thing in the goddamn world. You might as well give up now, because she's going to be relentless no matter what.
You might as
she's not going to make the experience fun. And like the whole thing is like being the villain is you should be trying to make the experience fun.
Right.
And not like demoralizing. And your sister just is able to suck the fun out of anything. I love your sister, but she is able to take the fun and just suck every little last bit of it out.
She, yeah, that's fair.
God bless her.
God bless her. I wish she was here to defend
Bless her
herself.
heart.
We've really got to get her on the show. We've really got to get her on the program at least once, because like I've only ever played Settlers of Catan once, and it went like this.
Funny.
She pulled out all of the shit from the box. She set it all up, looked at the board,
he's exaggerating, but he's not.
No, looks like I won, and then put all the shit back in the box, and that was it. It was 20 minutes of mostly setup while she explained the rules, announced that she already had all of the resources in the land.
I was so fucking confused the entire time. I'm like, what do I do with this?
Do I floop the pig? What the is this? What am I doing with my life?
And like her explanations for me, and maybe it's just like, ADD brain.
Because it's resource management.
And I'm just sitting here going, you were explaining this, first of all, too fast. Secondly, this is way more complex than I can deal with right now.
Yeah. So suffice to say, we played Sonic once.